coffee break with me. Come and take your coffee break with me. Come and take your coffee. Come and take your coffee. Come and take your coffee break with me.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Coffee Break with Candace and David. I'm your co-host, David Marino, and as you can tell, we are in a cave. We are actually at Wonder World Cave and Adventure Park here in San Marcos, and I'm joined by owner Kristin Williams to just talk about this iconic visitor spot here in Central Texas. What can you tell us about the history of the cave, Kristin?
Well, thanks, David, for having me on the show, but it is a unique place. It's been around for many decades, and we opened our doors back in 1903. The cave was founded in 1893 by a man named Mark Beavers. He lived on the property, and one day he was outside drilling for water, and he noticed he dropped his drill bit, and it didn't quite land anywhere. So it got his mind thinking. He's wondering what was down there. So like any good father would do, they tied up their son and sent him down the hole on a rope, and just to discover that there was a cave here. And then later that next day, Mrs. Beaver was cooking in her kitchen and noticed some vapor coming from the parking lot. So that got them thinking, could there be water underneath? So a big boulder was moved aside and opened up now the entrance of Wonder World Cave. So it's been operating as a cave tourist attraction since 1903, which we're well known for as the first show cave in Texas. From there, it went on to several other hands. But it's a neat thing to discuss that I am the third generation to run the operation. My grandfather, T.J. Mostyn, bought the cave from A.B. Rogers back in 1958. And from then, we have really grown this park into a adventure park that people come from all around Texas to visit.
Now, there's more than just the cave for people to enjoy. This is a whole tour. Can you talk about what people will experience when they come here?
Sure. So we do like to emphasize that we're Wonder World Cave and Adventure Park because not only are you getting the main attraction, which is the earthquake form cave, you also have a train ride through a wildlife park to feed the animals, exotic animals such as fallow deer. We have peacocks, Hawaiian rams, all sorts of animals that will come up to the train and feed out of your hand. We do take a tour up to our stratosphere, which is the elevator that takes you to an observation deck about 110 feet high. So not only are you 110 feet down below Earth's surface, you take the opposite direction up 110 feet to our observation deck to see the view from another side. We like to end our tour with our anti-gravity house, which is an obstacle illusion room. It kind of plays with your mind. You feel crooked, but you're really straight. So a lot of things to check out at this park.
So you were saying earlier that you are now the third generation in your family to take over this park. You took over a few years ago. What has that experience been like for you and your family since taking over Wonder World?
The experience has been exciting and a kind of a fun ride. We started out with the park that has been operating, of course, for several decades. But at the time that we took it over, we knew that it needed a revamp. We needed some new energy, new ideas. So it's been such a cool experience to not only work with my partner, my husband, but we also have so many guides that are truly invested in the park that have made this so much more than what it was 5 years ago.
All right, you guys, well, welcome to our final room of the cave. This room is called our fossil room. Anybody have a guess of why we call it that?
Because we found a lot of fossils here.
Exactly. So if you look above us here, you'll see that we have, once again, this is going to be that petrified sea mud that we saw in our dark room. But here it's covered in trace fossils. So trace fossils are going to be a little bit different than fossils you'd normally see in a museum or exhibition, something like that. So trace fossils are going to be something that an organism has left behind. So if you think about it like a dinosaur stepping his little foot into the mud, leaving that footprint behind, and then that footprint fossilizes, that would be a trace fossil.
Those look like wet noodles, but bigger. Oh man!
Yeah, so this is our noodle fossil exhibition. No, these are left behind by something else. Y'all want to take a couple guesses of what might have left these fossils behind?
Worms.
Worms, good, yes. Okay, you guys are super close, so I'm just going to tell you, I know it's on the tip of your tongues. This is left behind by a creature called the ancient Rhodus sea clam.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
I know. So what basically basically happened is, since this is sea mud here, those little sea clams would wiggle their way through the mud. They left us this cool little ancient road map to look at, and now we have all these awesome trace fossils.
So earlier you were saying that there's a number of things that you guys have been doing to sort of improve the park. Can you talk about some of those different things that you've been doing over the last couple of months or years?
Sure. Yeah. So like I said, when we first took on 5 years ago, we were operating the cave as it had operated for 20 plus years. So since we have come on, we've invited the Mermaid Society, which is a nonprofit. They've kind of become our partners, and it's our way to reach out to the community and be a big part of that. And that nonprofit is all about preserving the rivers and educating youth about preserving our environment. And that plays into a big mission of the caves, which is preserving natural beauty. So we have together done a ton of events here at the park, which is for the community. It allows people to come out for free to enjoy the park and experience unique San Marcos, or all things San Marcos. Today is a perfect example. I'm glad y'all are here today. We have the Mermaid Bazaar. It happens every first and third Saturday, and it's a chance for local artists to come out and really exhibit their art and share that with our community.
You've also done other things like Rave in the Cave. Can you talk about events like that?
Sure. You're actually sitting in the room where we do the Rave in Cave, or Rave in the Cave. And as you can tell, if you're in my gift store, you can see we have a lot of college kids that work for us, a lot of students from Texas State, and they come up with these bright ideas. And I am that type of person that's going to listen and probably run with some of the ideas. And Rave in the Cave was one that kind of stuck and was very interesting to me. It gave an opportunity for college students to come down in the cave and experience it probably for their first time. So this was the room where we allowed the Rave in the Cave. And the unique thing about the Rave in the Cave, it was a silent disco. We didn't want to mess with the vibrations, messing with any of our stones. So we had a DJ set up on a stage with all of the headphones on our students' ears. So it was very fun to watch everybody in the cave when you didn't hear anything, but you saw a lot of movement and kind of off tone. Their tones were off and everyone was singing different things. But yeah, so the Rave in the Cave was a really cool event, and we've done it. Now, this will be our third year, but it was mainly to draw in the college and to give that unique experience that they'll never probably experience. It's a once in a lifetime thing.
And that is one of the things you've been doing, is trying to get different crowds in to come visit the cave. I mean, obviously families come with children and it's a learning experience, but you're also trying to diversify and get others to come here. So you've done the Rave in the Cave, you have Christmas events as well. And what other things?
So you're right. You know, our market and target has always been families in Central Texas, and we've really wanted to push out to the college and also to our local community. That's where we weren't getting the traffic. So putting on our special events such as Halloween haunted cave tours and our Christmas through the park. We've lit up the cave and brought in carolers. We do special things at those holidays to bring in the locals, of course, outsiders as well, out, in the community. It's really a big part of why we do that, to bring those people in. And other things outside of that, we have a flea market that's open every Sunday. We allow people to set up out in our parking lot. And yeah, it's just bringing in a lot of the crowd that we haven't been able to reach out to. And it's been great for us.
And over the years, you've said you've had a lot of different visitors come through, some unique stories. Can you share some of those with us?
Well, I love getting those stories of, I used to work here, now these are my children, I want to bring them through. If you've noticed in the gift shop, there's dollar bills on the ceiling. That's everybody that's worked here over the years. So if you make it through the summer, you get to put a dollar bill up there. So it dates back to probably early 70s is when we started that tradition. So that's a cool story. But not that long ago, I had a lady, probably in her 90s. She came here on her wedding anniversary back in maybe the 40s. And she went down in the cave and told that wonderful story. So she was back to visit. So a lot of history here, a lot of repeat visitors, but now bringing their grandchildren and great-grandchildren. So that's cool to hear.
And of course, one of the other attractions is the different animals that you can see when you're out here. Can you talk about some of that?
Sure. We take a lot of pride in our wildlife park. We actually live on the property, so we're tending to them at all times. We have a wildlife park that features exotic animals such as Hawaiian rams, fallow deer, unique things that you wouldn't see anywhere else, but they are free roaming, and they come up to the train, they feed out of your hand. So it's one of the largest petting zoos, I would say, in Texas.
So when you were younger, you obviously grew up in this park as well, since your family owned it, your father, your parents. Did you ever imagine that one day you would be the person actually running the park?
I think it came and then it went. I mean, the idea of running it wasn't always a dream of mine. I think in my later years, when I saw the beauty and really the value of this place, and it was the option to sell was on the table to someone that wasn't going to run it as the cave, that's when I stepped up to the plate and decided that I need to continue the legacy of the cave. And I think it's such a unique gem here in San Marcos that I think the community would probably be disappointed if it left. So we do bring in a lot of tourists here in San Marcos, and overall, it's a great thing for everyone that lives here.
And it's something that a lot of people who are from Texas, Central Texas, have always talked about. They remember visiting it when they were a child. And now with so many new people moving to this area, it's an opportunity, I would imagine, for you as a business owner to attract some of those people. Have you had a lot of new people that have just kind of relocated to this area come in, and especially people who are into the outdoors or just caves in general, or cavers? Have you seen that?
Absolutely. Yeah. We've got definitely an uptick in our traffic in the last year. A lot of people are seeing our billboards on 35 coming from Austin, headed down to San Antonio to do something fun, but then they see our billboard like, wow, we didn't know that was existing in San Marcos. So we are definitely capturing those that want to be outdoors, out and about, especially in these times. It's been a really great year and a great opportunity for us.
As far as future plans for Wonder World, what other ideas do you have percolating right now?
So we were just named the Mermaid Capital of Texas. So I do foresee having some kind of attraction that features mermaids and can really capture the unique history of what was once Ocarina Springs. That was such a huge tourist attraction here in San Marcos. It was owned by A.B. Rogers, who also owned Wonder World Cave, who sold it to my grandfather. I have many guests that come in and can remember that attraction, and they see the mermaids and they see them all around town. I think they're making that connection, but we'd like to be, mainly that attraction that can kind of bring back that unique experience that so many remember.
What do you remember as a child growing up here? What are some of the memories that stand out for you?
Well, I remember not being watched very closely, and I was in and out of the cave a lot, and it was a good experience. I know my parents were really proud of this place. Grandparents were very involved. Family was very involved. And so tour guides were always part of my family as well. They get so invested as they are today. They get very invested. And we just have a good time. It was always a real special time here at the Cape.
And you were saying earlier, a lot of your tour guides, they're people from this area. They're young people that probably used to come here as well. What kind of people attract to those positions?
For our tour guides?
Yes.
So we look for unique, kind of free spirit, those that are interested in maybe geology or in the wildlife park, or someone that wants to kind of further their career in marketing. I'm always looking for certain skill sets that we can grow within the park. I think that I'm so lucky that I get to have such, knowledgeable students or innovative students coming to work for me. It's almost like they get kick-started here, and sometimes I get to have them longer than expected because it's just such an opportunity for them to learn, especially with marketing. I've got a few right now that have learned a tremendous amount, and they're going to move on to that next job with a huge resume. I mean, lots of skill sets have been built here. But yeah, I'm always looking for the person that really wants to dive in and take it somewhere further than just a job.
And you can see with your tour guides, they're very enthusiastic and very happy to be here and very knowledgeable as well. I know when you first started, when you took over, that what was important to you was also making community connections. And I know that's something you've been working on over the past 5 years. You said Mermaid Society. What other sort of connections are you making out there?
We are trying to support as many festivals that are going on with the Mermaid. We're the big sponsor of so many that we can be part of. We just want to get the support out there for all the other businesses. And yeah, the Mermaid Society has been a huge help for us to get reconnected with the community. I would say that would be our number one outreach at this time.
So, Kristin, for those who are visiting the cave, there's some unique things when they visit this particular cave because they can actually touch some of the formations, which isn't the case when you visit a lot of other caves, correct?
That's right. We are a dry form cave, which means that we were not formed by water like many of the caves that you visit. You can touch, you can photograph. So that is so unique. And you'll also see some really cool cave graffiti, we call it, but it's actually from probably way back in the 20s when people were visiting down the cave. So really cool, unique things that you can see down here. But again, yes, you can touch, which makes it very different. And we also have a unique thing we call a cave kiss. As you see, the water has been traveling through our rocks for probably 2 weeks from the big rain we had. And it's probably the purest water you've ever tasted. And if you're dropped by a cave kiss, we call it, you have good luck for 7 years.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I know.
Our guy who's been shooting here has actually had several drops. So, what else would you like to say to the public in terms of coming to visit? What other things would you like them to know about Wonder World if they want to find more information?
Well, you can always go to our website. We are requiring that you book online. But we have all-in-one tickets. So what you pay for other things at other parks may not include everything. But what's really cool about our ticket is you can buy a reasonable price ticket, and it includes not only the cave, but our observation deck, anti-gravity house, and train right through the wildlife park to feed the animals.
Okay.
And then aside from that, if you're coming to just spend more time, we have our gift shop. It's a unique gift shop with state-of-the-art unique gift shop with a snack bar, arcade. We have macaws that are here on site that love to visit with our guests.
Became Wonder World and we purchased the cave from Mr. Rogers. Obviously, all we had to work with was those VIP tours with that fake treasure. So we wanted to give people a more educational and informative experience here in our cave. So we had a paleontologist come out here, take a look around and tell us all of the cool things about our rocks, our formations, our fault line, all of that good stuff. So she helped us learn a whole lot about our cave and its natural history. She also tried to help us figure out about these fossils. So what she did is she scraped off the tops of the tunnels so she could look inside of them and see if anything was still lodged in there. That way she would be able to discover what had formed them. So she started over here, scraping off the tops of the tunnels. Y'all see anything in any of these tunnels?
It's kind of wet. Holes!
Holes, exactly, so there's nothing in there. So she built this little staircase all the way up into our throne room. Ooh la la! And then here she dug around a whole bunch more.
Ooh, can we go to the throne room?
When we're done talking in here, we might be able to, yes.
Okay, cool.
So, you guys see anything in these tunnels?
I see a crack that leads to another place that looks really quite interesting and I'm really eager to go there.
So there's that, but there's no sea clams. So she dug around all the way across our fault line over here and she stopped when suddenly she found more of nothing. So she packed up her things and went home. And with the money we would have spent on her, we moseyed on down to our local Dollar General, picked up one more stick of dynamite, made this awesome little explosion over here, which is how we were able to build our elevator shaft. Woohoo! So when we did that, we actually did find something really exciting and unexpected. If you guys look up here in the explosion, this little bit of the ceiling kind of fell off. Y'all see that little empty space right there? So right in the center of my flashlight, there's one and two little black speckles in the ceiling there. So those are ancient Rhodes sea clam fossils. Woohoo!
For more information on Wonderworld Cave and Adventure Park, please visit wonderworldpark.com. All pictures and videos used in this segment are courtesy of Wonderworld.